Hi, good evening. Hi, Vijay. Just waiting for Sushma and a few others to join. Hi, Krishna. Thank you for joining. Hi. Hello. Hope you're all staying safe, indoors, healthy. Hi, Subiksha. I'm just going to see if I can find there Sushma. Hey, Sushma. Do you think you could send me a request? Hi. Sushma. It's taking a... I've requested to join. Okay, yeah. Um, I have accepted that request. Just give me... It says waiting for Sushma to join. Should I send you a request, Sushma? Just give me a second. Let's see. I think it should work now. Ha.
Hi.
Hi. OMG.
This is the first time I've joined someone else. Like I'm actually having a conversation on Instagram.
Oh, how exciting. Wow. And look, we just are wearing the exact same colors. Wow.
You need to tilt your camera so that I can see the color.
Oh. Can you?
Oh yeah.
Let me see what you're wearing. Wow.
Yeah. See it.
Oh, that's gorgeous, Sush. That's really lovely. What sari is it?
So this is a create that my mother-in-law gifted me because I love flower. Ah! Sorry. That was a disaster. So I love floral.
Okay.
So she realized that I was going through this phase of like trying also with floral blouses and floral sarees, and so
Yeah.
she did me one with a floral
Wow.
saree.
And I
Yeah.
see you have a new haircut as well.
I know.
It's really nice.
This is the shortest my hair has been since I was 5 or something.
I'm really jealous because we haven't been able to go out and, even go to the salon.
Oh,
So even if I
it's like
want a hair, yeah. Yeah. So
oh
Chennai is in lockdown, as you know, right?
yeah
I
yeah
think
yeah.
Singapore has partially opened up.
It's partially opened up. We can meet up to 5 people now.
Oh,
So
wow. Have you done that
yeah,
already?
I have. I was waiting to do it. So I met exactly 5 other people. Or four. Actually, I met only 4 other people. I kept it with me.
And did you meet your real bestie, the little golden
No.
retriever?
So, I mean, these were people who joined us. My neighbor has a golden retriever. I often kidnap, and then I
Who's an
pretend she.
Instagram sensation, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like more than me being a musician, a lot of people know that I'm a dog owner, but I'm not even
I
that
know.
because
Yeah.
my. But yeah, now I
Dog
can finally
mother.
meet her, and I'm going to kidnap her tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Looking
Yeah,
forward to that. Anyways,
I know.
for those who've joined, I'm just going to introduce
Sushma, just formally and just based on my interaction with Sushma. Um, Sushma is, I think, equally divides her time equally between Singapore and Chennai. She is a chartered accountant by qualification, but a full-time musician, a full-time classical musician, but also somebody I think who's not in any way limited by her classical training, and is someone who's constantly looking for avenues to tap into her classical music tradition and training to find interesting and innovative ways of expressing it to audiences who are not necessarily familiar with the world of the classical. She's also a researcher, an educator, and a very, very good writer. I've had the opportunity of knowing Sushma for the last 8 years now, ever since I started Alap. And we've chatted endlessly, shared many a secret, and collaborated on a whole host of projects that have helped people access classical music and its very, very large and beautiful world in ways that are fun, engaging, and accessible. Sushma, thank you so much for being here. In the backdrop of the World Music Day, we were looking to chat with somebody who obviously was a musician, but also who had a passion for sarees. And I know that you really, you often say that you have a small collection, but you wear that collection really well. So I was really curious to chat with someone who pairs her sarees so beautifully with fantastic blouses and always carries it off with so much ease. A modern woman who wears the sarees in Singapore. And I've also seen you wear the sarees, I think at a couple of parties as well, and not like in any way limited by, where the saree needs to actually traditionally be, There's one thing I forgot to mention is that when you, in Chennai, when Sushma is not practicing or performing or hanging out with her absolutely sweet party, you can find her in Sangeeta eating her most favorite dish, dosa.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, Sushma's love for sarees and dosa. I don't know which you love more, Sushma, dosa or sarees, but we'll get to that later.
That's a tough one for sure. Oh, she's eating.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out Rosna there. Raksha said hi. Bharat said hi. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here.
Okay. Yeah. Sushma, I'm going to start off firstly by asking you about this new single, I think, that you released with Aditya Prakash just a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, just yesterday. Yeah.
It was fantastic. I just loved it. And I loved the whole treatment of it, the video. It had such a calming effect. And I wanted to congratulate both of you about it. And I just wanted to talk to you about, what inspired it and what is it like to also collaborate with a musician who's also such a buddy,
It's a blessing and a curse.
I can imagine.
Basically, the single that Akila is talking about is, I just released something, a track called Jim Jim Barse yesterday. It's written by one of the Sikh gurus, one of the 10 gurus, Guru Arjan Dev, the 5th in the order. And my best friend Aditya Prakash and I, we worked on it together and we released it yesterday. And so basically we did it because someone who's just very special to us, he loves this song. And so we kind of, we just wanted to surprise him at his birthday yesterday. And so it'll be nice if we put it together for him. And so that's how it came to be. Okay. And I think it's where Aditya is someone who inspires me a lot musically. And, he's also involved in a lot of work that I enjoy, like cross-genre work and his classical as well and everything. And so, and I think we also value same musical values in terms of just, the aesthetic, the discipline, our tastes are the same. So in that sense, I think working together is easy because we both know what we want, or rather, we both know what we definitely don't want. I think we don't want, so it's easy. It's a curse because we end up bickering more. We're like, this and that, and it's like a constant struggle in that way. But I think our intention with this track was to create something meditative, something that people could say that it took them out of the world, sort of transcend the material realm, and that's what we wanted to give. And that's why even with the video, we didn't want people or anything.
Yeah, I think that was a fantastic move, because I
Yeah.
almost thought that it would make for such a lovely, a track before you just went to bed. It has that really soothing quality about it. And yeah, it's really beautiful. Yeah.
So we did, actually, those are not stock footage. So the video, the videos featured in it are what we, like Sri and I, my husband and I, we had taken when we traveled to Bali. And, he had a drone and, we actually took live footage of the place in Nusa Lembongan. So it was just, it was one of those moments where the water, the waves, the splash, everything, it just created such a mood and such a meditative effect by itself that I thought it would just be so well with this.
Yeah, it was beautiful, Sushma. I'm going to ask you about, just how has lockdown life been like for you? Could you comment, talk to me about both from a professional perspective as well as personally, what have been your key takeaways from this,
I think it's been hard, or different rather, because I've, like, ever since 2009, I've been back and forth with Chennai. And honestly, this is the longest. 3 months is the longest I've been in Singapore. Because usually, like, almost every 2 weeks, once a month, I'm traveling back and forth. So it's definitely been, like, I was actually nervous. I was like, I don't even recognize Singapore anymore. Can I actually be there?
Yeah.
But so in way, actually, lockdown was a blessing because I know my home, I know my space, and I know
Right.
what my routine was. I knew what my, what I had to work on and all those things. So
Right.
in that way, it was good. My key takeaway, I think, is that I think I realized that fundamentally, you can be an introvert and you can say you love yourself and all of those things. But I think fundamentally, as humans, we are social. And I think I've realized that, you need a support system. You need humans in your life, or you need some kind of interaction in your life, and you can't deny that. So in that way, I'm very thankful to have had that core group that gave me that support, gave me the interaction that I needed during this time. And so I think my key takeaway moving out is to just really value the people that we have, because it's it just contributes so much to your growth as well. Because I can be reading, I can be listening, I can be doing all these things, but the way I internalize it is also when I discuss it with these people, and then it gets implemented more. So it's so important to have those interactions.
Right, absolutely. Sushma, I'm going to kind of move to, the very premise of this conversation, which is in the company of the Saree. And this series has been conceived by Panchavarnam Silks, really to have conversations and interactions with women for whom the world of Saree, and I don't mean just the Saree, but the world that it's sort of the world that the Saree inhabits, that matters, And I thought that you would be like you're somebody who takes great pride in wearing a Saree, and, I'm going to ask you, what's your relationship with the Saree? Like, how do you, if I were to ask you, what is your relationship with the Saree, and has this relationship evolved over the years?
It's definitely evolved. Because to be honest, my first memory of my sari is like, parties, chittis, all aside, it's my mom wearing it. And I think, as we learn about race and all these things today, that's one thing that, when my friend and we discussed, I realized that, as a young kid, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I would actually be embarrassed when my mom came to school in a sari, because, all the other mothers would come in, pants or shorts or skirts or something. And I would feel like, just my mom is coming in a sari, like, and growing up in Singapore, like, where, people do take digs at you, like, oh, your mom is coming in a sari, but she can't wear something else, and all these things. And so
sure,
I did have that sort of like, oh my god, growing up, I felt like I had to be modern, and that thing. And my only tie to sari was actually through music, because I figured if I continued music, then on stage I would have to wear a sari, and that kind of, that was my thought. But I think when I moved to India, it changed completely, because I realized, it's normal there, right? Like, it's not something that's whatever. So I think I started wearing, I was working for a bit in India as well while pursuing music. So I would wear sarees to work. I would just wear sarees, not just for my own concerts, but to other people's concerts.
Concerts as
And
well, yeah.
and I really started wearing all of my mom's sarees. And once I
Right.
exhausted my sarees, I started wearing like one of my really close friends, Shweta. She's so generous with the sarees. I started wearing all of her sarees. And then another friend of mine, Jyotsna, I started wearing her sarees. So I realized that now it's just, I go for class, I wear sarees, like, and even in Singapore, like, I remember there was once after a show, I was in a saree and, you know, like a couple of my friends and I were thinking of going out. And so they were like, do you want to change? And I was like, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to change. And we just went out in a saree. We had free eat all night long. You know, it was like, it was amazing. So, and so now I'm at a place where I can see I could be anywhere in a saree and I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I guess the saree also takes a lot of growing into, right? You kind of, it's like a relationship, it's like a marriage that you kind of grow into and you kind of slowly like make it your own, right?
Yeah, that's right. You kind of find your identity with it. And I mean, there are also practical difficulties, right? Like you kind of need to be comfortable walking in the saree. You can't run in it. Like, or now I can run kind of in the saree, but it doesn't happen immediately. You also need to build your, you know,
right.
practice with
comfort.
Yeah.
What about this whole idea of sarees triggering memories? Sushma, do you have like, you know, maybe your party saree or something like sarees being carriers of memories? Do you think that that happens with you?
But you know, to be honest, I think more than sarees, I would say it's darwinis. You know, like back in the day, like so I progressed from like pavade to darwini to
okay, you did that. Okay.
Yeah, so and so when I used to wear darwini, like, you know, my parents got me like darwinis and stuff, but I remember the most special one for me was when my atte, she had saved 2 darwinis and she gave one of it to my cousin and she gave the other one to me, and I still have it today because to me it's like, well, my atte gave it to me, you know, and it's really pretty, like dark brown with a pink ball, like a dark magenta border, and so, you know, that's like, those things have value to me, I think, and because it has like, from my atte kalam.
Yeah. No, for sure, right? It's like it's been like passed on. It's like a piece of history that you kind of have with you, right? Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Sushma, I'm going to ask you really about you know, just your how did you, you know, you live in Singapore. What was your, and I read in your website today that you started learning music when you were 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, wow. Could you talk about, you know, how you sort of your journey with music began really?
I think my journey with music began as like as a way for my parents to keep me rooted in Indian culture, because they moved back in 1982, and I think one of the things which I've personally noticed amongst a lot of NIR parents here is like they're so scared, like, oh my God, you know, my kids need to be rooted in Indian culture.
Yeah.
And somehow music becomes the way to keep them rooted in Indian culture.
Yeah,
right? So
for sure.
So I think that was what I knew. Like I went to class like every week or whatever because okay, I had to do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it was a much later stage when I came under the tutelage of Mrs. Lalita Shivkumar that I really built, because I used to come to India to learn from her, and in that I realized that, you know, people really music was not like a weekly thing. Music was like a way of life, and I think it really consumed me, that idea that, you know, it can be a way of life. So at that time, it really transformed, and I really wanted to make it a way of life for me, not just something that I thought of, you know, only when it's time to think of it, but it's something that like just keeps brewing in my head, and I just keep thinking about it all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you know, over the years, I feel like even though you've trained in classical music, I've always seen you like, you know, as I think of you as a collaborator, as somebody who kind of also, you know, I know that you were part of Gauri Ramnarayan's play. You've done stuff with us for Alap. I mean, you're always excited and open to kind of, you know, take your classical music training and use it in ways that are accessible or probably not familiar, like audiences that are not familiar with classical music can kind of engage with it. I'm curious to see that sort of eclectic personality of yours in music. Does it also kind of reflect in your choice of saris as well?
Um, well, that's a tough one to answer because I think um, so the reason why I do those things, I think in some ways also because growing up in Singapore, I realized that there was a gap between my friends or the people surrounding me and my music. And it was very important to me that people could relate to it in some way. So I think that's what kind of led to a lot of the dabbling because I was like, how can we actually break it down for outside people to really understand this? You know, can it help through narration, if it's through dance, if it's through this, like trying to find different ways to really understand it. And but I think fundamentally all of it is still rooted in traditionalism because I still want Carnatic music to be Carnatic.
Of course.
I like the authority of it. I love the classicism of it. And so maybe in that way, I think my sari choice is also that, which is that I do like the really like typical classic saris and, you know, like even the pretty saris, you know, like the cottons and all of those. But I guess like I bring in my aesthetic by, you know, like kind of playing around with the blouses or matching them differently because I guess that's how I am. I have all these quirks and, you know, while it's traditional, it has all these quirks. So I guess that's the parallel that I would draw.
Yeah, I mean, because I always think, and I said this in my previous conversation with Janaki and Dhwani as well, that somehow like aesthetics, people who are inherently aesthetic, whether it's music or design or, you know, visual artists, they also wear their saris like that. Aesthetics also translates into the way they dress up, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and I suppose like when you're a classical musician with a very, very contemporary bent of mind in that sense, you're also kind of um, that expression is also finding ways in the way you actually wear the sari as well, right? So always think that, especially in the pairing, and I think today you have been fairly conservative in your pairing.
I know. In fact, talking about pairing, I remember sometimes I get so excited about it. Like even when I want to go on stage during season, like there'll be a traditional kanjivaram, and I would want to wear like a really, you know, floral blouse or like something with stripes or checks, and my friends would have to be like, okay, please, this is a kacheri. You have sabha organizers and mommies and mamas. Can you please keep it to, you know,
tone it down?
Tone it down.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, okay, fine, and, you know, try to go for it more tone. But if you just let it, like if I could just really be myself, then I think it would be completely a bit more experimental with it. And
but
one
why?
day
Sushma, tell me why. But why do we need to tone it down? I mean,
I don't know why, but I just think, I mean, maybe in terms of, I don't know, I guess there's still an aesthetic with it. I mean, which is that personally, I can't justify it, but I won't get on stage with the sleeveless blouse. Although I think, you know, it's still just as decent and stuff. I feel like there are just certain things that are, it's like a stage decorum that's there that you follow. And maybe it's nothing to do with the mommies or mamas or anything. A certain respect that you think the stage deserves. So I guess you can push it to a certain extent, but do you want to push it off? I don't know. That's a question I guess we're still debating as we go along.
Right. Sure. Sushma, what is your sari wardrobe like? I mean, do you have many saris? Do you have a huge collection, or do you, you know, of late I've been reading about, what is it called? Like conscious fashion, right? I mean, like, so I want to talk to you about, you know, I know that you're almost vegan. So
yes, I'm all vegan.
Yeah. So does that also influence your, you know, your decision when you buy a sari? Number one, what does your sari wardrobe look like really? And do you buy saris consciously? I mean,
so the first thing that I did actually, like the big step when it came to saris, was in 2007. I made a decision to stop buying silks. So I stopped buying silks.
Okay.
So actually, the last pattu podava that I had was in 2007, which was bought from RMKV. And adorn, like after that, I've not bought a single silk sari.
And why did you
Yeah.
take that decision, Sushma?
Because compassionate reasons, because I decided that I didn't want to put, like silkworms and all these things and buy a sari. So I stopped buying it. But I realized along the way that, I mean, not realized rather, but what I and also then after that, I think it came to a point when I started thinking about environment, and I realized a big problem is also consumerism. Like we keep consuming so much. And especially with saris, I realized that, like my mother-in-law gives me saris, my mother, and like if it's a Navaratri, then like people are gifting like 10 saris left, right, center, and things like that. And even to my friends who just keep buying saris. And I think I made a decision that actually I'm not going to buy saris anymore. Maybe like once or twice a year, I'd buy it, like, from a very good friend of mine, Silkworm Boutique, like I buy from him, and I've been to Panjavarnam and I love their saris as well. And so, like just to like satiate that craving, but I don't buy anymore. So what I do is I borrow, and I have no shame in that, because
That's
I think,
great.
yeah, if someone wants to borrow from me, well, I'm very happy to, because if that means that you're going to buy one less sari, I'm so happy to be able to like let you use my sari. Because the truth is, we wear like a sari 2-3 times and we get bored of it,
That's true.
and I came from my friends, and it just gets stocked up, and by the time they wear one pattu kodavai today, like it's the sari only sees the light of the day after 2 years again. So if I'm happy to use them for my prestige or anything, so I feel like actually it's like a mutually beneficial relationship that we have. Like
Right.
I take care of the sari, I use it, I give it back, and
Yeah.
so that's why my friends and family are so important, because I just borrow from them. So and for me, if like someone says, I really need to gift it to you, I've even told them, please stop gifting things to me either. I think my life now, I just want to stop consuming as much.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sushma, I about 6 months ago, I interviewed this actor called Gul Panag. Have you heard of her?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so, yeah. So she was, wearing this really beautiful dress. She was wearing a short little black dress because she had just finished a press meet, and then she met me at a hotel. And then I just sort of complimented her dress, like initially, like as an icebreaker. I was like, this is a great dress, and everybody, all girls must own a little black dress. And she told me that that dress was about 18 years old.
wow.
And she talked to me about how, that if something is in good condition, she talked about how you wear it and wear it and wear it again. Because sometimes, we're so conscious about not repeating our clothes. So we're like, so many times you have a dress and then you're like, I wore it to this party and I'm going to see the same people, so I won't wear this dress again. And we end up buying another new dress, or never using that dress. And she talked to me really about how you actually wear it over and over again, and it becomes your own. And it also is like a great way of staying in shape, so you're constantly kind of keeping a check in terms of yeah. And I think of the sari also often as that, where like the sari that I am wearing, for example, is I don't know, maybe 2001 or something, and I've worn it so many times, like every little kalyanam opportunity, whatever, because it's got that typical old world, that border. I'd wear it so much. And initially I would be like, I've worn it, the same people are going to be there, maybe I shouldn't. And now I consciously think about what I heard from Gulpanag about how there is, and you can actually experiment with your blouse or with your jewelry or something and give it another, form and flavor, but not actually like keep accumulating. Sometimes we just don't want to, because we're not pursued to not repeat something. We end up like buying more and more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a really nice way to look at it, actually. I mean, to kind of and grow into it. That's a very nice. Thank you for sharing.
And I also think that by virtue of that, you're also kind of creating memories with it.
Yeah.
Because the more number of times you wear it, you kind of remember that I wore this to someone's wedding and this happened. So it also becomes like a storehouse of a memory, right? Well, going back to you, Sushma, coming back to you, I want to ask you, do you have any role models when it comes to the sari itself?
Ooh, yeah, back in the day, I really used to love Nandita Das and sarees.
Oh, such
Yeah,
understated saris, right?
yeah, so understated. I really wanted to do that look, at some point, but then I think I couldn't because I like some kind of loudness in my sarees
Yeah,
also, so I really could never do
brightness.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like the flash of orange, or suddenly
yeah,
there'll be like a somewhere, so I could
yeah,
never carry it out. I really loved her saree taste.
yeah.
Um, and I think amongst my friends, I really love Jyotsna Jagannathan's saree taste, and
Yeah.
she's
Carries it off
like,
so well as well.
yeah, like her saree taste is impeccable. And of course my friend Shweta as well, whose wardrobe I read. And I
Yeah.
think give a shout out to Christopher as well, who is
Oh, yeah.
associated with Burnham too.
Yeah.
And you would be like, what would a guy know? But I think he beats us all
Oh my
like
God.
hands down.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
love
Yes.
saree collection, his dark saree collection.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say like I don't think my role model is like somewhere
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
actor thing like that. I feel like they're around us, and I just watching them wear
Absolutely.
this, like I love it. Yeah.
No, for sure. For sure. Sushma,
Yeah.
talk to us also a little bit about, I know that you're also a huge travel buff. And I know that
Yeah.
you must probably be missing traveling like crazy now.
Oh God, yeah. I
Yeah.
really miss it. I think I've also been conflicted. That's one thing that I learned during the lockdown, because as I read more about environmental, causes and our things, I mean travel is one of the things that adds to global warming, with
Mm.
the carbon emission and everything. So I'm like, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that I've not been traveling back and forth. But at the same time, I feel like it's my travels that actually make me so empathetic to the world, and it really makes me care so much for the world. So I think I'm struggling a bit to reconcile my desire to travel with the emission of the green, like carbon emissions, with really understanding how I can fit sustainability and align it together. But if you're just talking about travel alone, I love it. I miss it. I've been to some really fantastic places in the world. I've, touch wood, thank God. And I really hope that can continue, because I think it makes you feel so small. It makes you feel like there's something bigger than you.
Absolutely.
Stop being self-serving and self-indulgent. There's something beyond you you can't even imagine. And I think that feeling,
Right.
everyone should experience that, because I think that's the only way we can make the world better.
Right. Sushma, I'm going to go back to your wardrobe because it's sort of connected with this response of yours
Yeah,
about
sure.
how we're actually small in the larger scheme of things, right?
Right.
Do you, in a sense, practice a certain like minimalism, both in the way you choose and pick your saris in your sari wardrobe, in the way you dress as well? Is minimalism? I often think that that's an essential sort of. I feel that there is a quality of minimalism about the way you live your life. I mean, from whatever little I know. So I feel
Sure.
like has travel, in some sense, influenced and shaped that aspect? And how does that
Um,
manifest in your sari wardrobe as well?
so I think minimalism is it's hard to really you see, for example, I don't know if this sari is considered minimalistic, because if you're talking about a design and print, it's obviously a bit like over the top and it
Yeah,
shouts at you, right? But it's minimalistic to the extent that I'm not accessorizing with anything. It's just the
yeah,
sari, it's just this. So
yeah.
I'm minimalistic to that extent.
Uh-huh.
And I'm also minimalistic to the point where, like I told you, I don't buy anymore unless like it's like a treat, And so I think I'm minimalistic in that, because I read so much about like uh, the dyes and like being thrown into the water, and like the leftover fabric and all these things, which I feel like I can also cut down on those things, and so I have. But I think in terms of my taste, I do like that little excess, and I don't mean that in terms of like going overboard with my accessories or whatever. But I like I said, even if it's a white sari, then I need my blouse to be loud. Or
Right.
if it's a white blouse, then I like my sari to be loud. So in that sense, I don't know. I don't know if that's counted as minimalism. Am I
Right.
making sense?
Yeah, but I think like minimalism is more and like an idea, right? I mean, it's minimalism is not about the loudness of the color, but it's also about, I think, a certain value system, right? Where you
That
where
is
you don't,
like,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. So I mean, but yeah, that's the thing though. I think because it comes with, you're right, it's an idea, but when someone sees you, they may not think you're minimalistic if
yo, no,
if,
no,
if
no,
they
yeah, yeah,
won't, right?
absolutely,
But
absolutely,
I am, because I mean, this is all it is, and this is a sari that I didn't even buy; it was gifted to me, and I feel like
yeah,
it's aligned with everything that I believe in. But if someone were to see me like this, they wouldn't think I am. So I think that's what I was trying to explain. That
yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
consider that I am, but I definitely feel that I am. Yeah.
Right.
The
Minimal
lifestyle is,
lifestyle is different from your aesthetic preference.
yeah,
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 yeah, but
absolutely.
for sure. But I had like a question to ask you when it came to when you talked about your travel, something specifically came to be about this idea of minimalism. Sushma, talk to us about when you chose to become a vegan, and then I'll come back to that question. It'll come back to me. When did you choose to become vegan, and what really, sort of triggered that decision?
I have to clarify that I'm almost vegan, and the reason I
Okay,
say this is
sure.
because when I go to my parties, places, and things like that, it's very hard to explain, or even to my parents' place, it's very hard to explain that I'm not eating thair anymore, or I'm not eating kurma anymore. And so they're like, "Adla onnulla, paravailla, saapdu, it's okay, just eat." And so we serve it. And so at that point, I'm like, okay,
Give
I
up.
can't fight. Yeah, I give up. Um, and also, when you go out, you don't know if they're going to put ghee or not. I generally don't like ghee anyway, so I avoid it. But so all these things, I say I'm almost vegan because I can't avoid these.
Right.
But I'm vegan to the extent that I consciously don't buy things anymore. Once in a while, I do have my thyroid craving, and I have my thyroid craving, like thyroid salad fix or something. And that's also because like coconut yogurt here is like $25, and it hasn't come to me as affordable as yet. So I face that problem, but I've cut out milk, butter, and all those things. And I made the decision in I think August 2018 was when I specifically
Okay.
said, no, I'm definitely going to try. Yeah. And so since then, I've not had, like, I love my desserts, my rasmalai, faluda, and all these things, and I've given up. And to me, that's like a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Sushma,
Yeah.
the question came back to me. So I was going to ask
Yeah.
you that if you don't buy silks anymore and you only buy a couple of saris every, twice a year or something, what kind of saris, what kind of fabrics do you actually buy? Like, what kind of weaves do you like? So,
I buy cottons.
okay.
Um, I buy like Chanderi cottons, or I
Beautiful.
like Mangalpuri cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is
Ikats?
it? Oh, I
Ikat?
love ikat too. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I love it, and I
Yeah.
love. Oh my God, it'll come back to me. Like it's like at the tip of my tongue, but
Which state of India does it come from?
um, uh, Orissa.
Yeah.
Um, my mom got me one.
Ikat must be, right?
Because not Pochampalli. Sorry, that's not
Pochampally,
Orissa.
yeah, that's Andhra Pradesh, yeah. The border of
Yeah,
Andhra Pradesh and
yeah.
Orissa, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, beautiful.
yeah,
I love Pochampallis, yeah. Oh, somebody
sambal
says
puri.
sambal puri. Oh, those are beautiful as well. But they're usually
Yeah.
in silk, right? Sambal puri is usually like a silk weave, right?
I
It's
I I
woven.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm also
You have
so bad.
Shivakami answer that, yeah.
Is it you, Shivakami? You
Yeah,
have to tell us.
yeah, you
Okay.
have to tell us, yeah. Yeah, Sushma, but you're kind of like inspiring me to um, uh, sort of adopt this minimalist lifestyle in
Yeah,
sarees.
I hope a lot of people can. I mean, in the sense that I feel like if we actually build a circle
Yeah,
where people are buying things, and you buy a few and you kind of just exchange, I feel like it actually, it's a very sustainable thing to do. And a second thing which I've actually started doing is I've started converting my saris to dresses and gowns.
oh, wow.
So yeah, so like one of my mom's crepe saris, I just stitched it into a. Oh, she
That's
says
cotton.
it's a cotton. Oh,
Usually a
thanks.
cotton weave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
It's,
Shivakami.
I just converted it into like a gown that I wore to a friend's wedding, and then there was another one that I converted into like a skirt and a top. So I've started doing that too when I get bored of it as a sari, and I've also converted it into Punjabis. It's like kurta and cotton.
That's great. Sort of like refurbishing it, right? That's fantastic. Yeah.
Part of it, you're like, oh, I did something new with it, and I compare it.
Yeah. Sushma, talk to us about your recent album, Sa, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really beautiful. So talk to us a little bit, and it would be lovely. I know that, I mean, I didn't ask you for this, but is there any way that you could probably sing us just a couple of lines from it or something, just so we get a sense of?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So just a little bit about.
Oh.
Okay.
Gosh, really? Okay.
Star was basically it's my debut album, and I just wanted to work with my friends who also inspire me a lot, like like Aditya, Sumi, Praveen. In fact, the first song that I worked on for that EP was the third track in the EP, Vitoba, and Praveen was the one. He's a percussionist and producer. He was the one who was like, Sush, like, if you want to work on something, tell me, we'll do it together. And I'm so grateful that he actually came forward that way, and we did that. And then my friend Aditya as well, who helped me arrange Mallika, the second song on the track, and collaborated with me for the fifth one. It was just like, I think I just, like, these people inspire me with their music. They do their own things. And then I think I came to a point, I was like, hey, enough. You guys are doing your thing. I need you guys to do something with me. And I want to do something with you because you guys inspire me. So let's do this together. So that's how it came to be. And I think it's, so Sa, because, Sa is the first note of the Ramapadanisa. And then it was a kind of symbolic of me, kind of like, it's my first step. It's the first thing I'm doing. And that's what I wanted to, and I wanted to kind of explore classical music with a contemporary aesthetic. That's what I wanted to do.
Right. And are you working on anything else, Sushma, now? Like, is there anything that you're...
Yeah, I've just kind of started, like, we were just talking about environmentalism and everything, right? So I think my next project is definitely going to be nature related, because I think it's something that I feel so strongly about, like plastic and nature and animals and, environmental degradation and everything. And I think music is the thing that's closest to me. And I want to find a way to express my frustration or my disappointment or my happiness and wonderment through a medium that I know best, music. So that's what I want to do. So that's what my next project is.
Wow, that's great. Have you been working on something during the lockdown, Sushma? Like anything specific, or have you just been kind of thinking? I mean, no pressure. I'm just like asking you because everyone's also been in this
I know everyone
now doing on pressure to perform right during the lockdown, which is a big pressurizing in itself. So
if I come on a live, I'm like happy. Yeah, that's
absolutely. I mean, I just read this beautiful post about how, like, somebody was like, have you been teaching your child, engaging with your child? And I'm like, the very fact that you are parenting in a pandemic, I'm glad I'm just getting by every day is in itself an achievement, right? To kind of, I don't want to kind of pack things and, just say that I taught him like the 5 tables or something like that. I'm not in that game.
It's about competition. It's about what you can do.
Right.
I think what I've worked on is, I've worked on my classical Carnatic itself, just learning the songs and, like singing them over and over again. Just, kind of trying to really like assert the importance of repetition to myself. So I think that, not getting tired of a song because I've sung it 5 times. Push it, can you sing it 10 times? Can you push the same Sangati for 10 times? Like that. That's what I've been pushing myself. I've been working, I'll be working rather with Amrit Ramnath, Bombay Jayashree son. We worked on one track and, we're thinking of working on a couple more together and we'll be putting them out at some point. And then I've also been thinking about this nature project. So I think there are a lot of things I'm thinking about and, when it'll mission and when it will see the light of the day, that I don't know. But I think in some way, I think it's been interesting to just stimulate it musically, to find inspiration amongst my peers. I think that itself I'm grateful for. Yeah.
I mean, in that sense, it's really a golden period, right? Of sort of uninterrupted time to actually engage with your own music and listen to the music of others as well, right? So, which often, I suppose, musicians who are performers in that sense and traveling don't perhaps often get that luxury, right?
Yeah, they definitely don't. And I mean, to kind of also just bounce off ideas and be like, okay, let me think about it for a day. Previously, it would be like, okay, so tell me now, are you ready, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, so much, it's more relaxed in that sense. And so I think we're never going to get back this time.
Right. But also, Sushma, are you, but it's also it's an uncertain time, right? I'm sure as a full-time musician, it must be a bit unknowing, what the future looks like. How have you kind of, dealt with this uncertainty, which I'm sure you're feeling it too, like, live experiences are going to take some time before we have a live performance, and it's going to take some time for the economy to pick up and for artists to go back performing on stage, for audiences to start paying for performances. It's all going to take some time. How are you coping as a musician who is probably feeling that uncertainty and sort of the fragility of the situation in that sense?
It's definitely tough. Especially more so because I see, like I wake up in the morning and I set out a routine for myself, but I come out and, I see Shree just switches on the laptop and from 9 to 6 does work.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, okay, I want to do these things today, but, and as an artist, you don't have like you don't get tangible products every day, right? Like you don't have something like, here, you did this today. It's not like that. So I think it plays on your mind, and sometimes you really question, did I have a productive day? Did I spend it the right way? And you have all these questions that you battle. And talking about work lost and stuff, a bunch of my concerts got canceled in the US, which was slated to happen in August and September. And then, some of the dates in Singapore have been canceled, and of course India, it's so unsure as well. I don't even know when I can travel back in. And I think more than like thinking about it as a career, what I really miss is actually stage interaction. And I think there's an element of magic that actually happens. I mean, even now, we do Insta Live or, record, we can do studio and recordings and songs and stuff. But there's really something so magical that happens when you're on stage, when you're creating music with people. Even if it's a bad concert or good concert, you're not thinking those things. When you're there, it's just the energy. And I really miss that, because that helps you grow, that helps you transcend this realm, that helps you be in a space that you just don't get otherwise. And I think that is what I really miss. Yeah.
And also in a sense, a reality check, right? Kind of, I always feel that when you go up on stage and then you kind of get a performance gives you like a reality check, helps you assess where you are,
Yeah. So
Instagram Live, you're just performing without an audience, right? You're just assuming there is an audience.
Yeah.
It can be a bit weird, I suppose.
What, like performing on live on Instagram?
Yeah.
It's actually a bit I don't know, I guess in some ways it's become more it's actually more personal, because like right now it's Varun, we can say these things, we can say hi to people, and obviously on stage you can't. And even when you're performing for Facebook Live or Insta Live, they ask you questions like, oh, what ragam was this, or what ragam was this? You can respond back. And you don't get these things on stage. So I guess you create that kind of experience, and that's nice. But like I said, sorry. But I guess what I miss is like I said, I think it's just fundamentally different, because you don't have the two people whom you perform. Two or people
for sure.
Performing. Yeah.
Right. Sushma, I'm not going to let you go without you singing a song, but I want to ask you one last question before we sign off. Have you ever shopped online for a sari? Would you ever shop online for a sari? You know that Panjavarnam is like an online store as well.
Yeah.
So would you ever shop online for a sari? Like,
one period in 2000, actually I remember this, 2012, I was so obsessed with looking at sarees online. Like I would just spend hours looking at them. And finally, and I would always be like, if I bought it, will the material be okay? I don't, and all those things. Eventually, like my party, who's just so dear to me, like my birthday was coming up, she gave me money and she said, buy, like a sari. I see that you're looking at all these things, buy a sari. And so I said, okay. And so I said, since I have party money, let me get a sari special. I don't remember the website now. I bought the sari and it came and it was horrible, Akila. It was like a really bad material and like I just would never wear it. Like I would never have picked it up on the store by myself. And then I felt so bad. I felt so guilty that, oh my God, my party gave me money and I bought such a trash sari. So I kept it in the cupboard for sentimental reasons. In the earlier part of this session, you asked me about like, do you have any saris that you're sentimental about? So I've kept it there for that. Because my party gave it to me for my birthday, but I just don't know whether I'll ever wear it again. Since then, I feel like I've just had a bad experience with saris. I don't know if I can bring myself to buy online again. I think there's like a certain charm to like feeling the sari, putting it against you, and
looking in the mirror,
and
asking a couple of people,
and I don't want to take all those things away. Those are the things that add so much beauty to our life.
Yeah, absolutely. Sushma, how was your party, by the way? Is she safe? Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she's very much safe. She's my chitti, so she's having a good time. She's happy, like we're not there, like bothering her.
Right. You're also such a Mylapore girl, right, Sushma? When you come, you live in Mylapore. Your home is in Mylapore, right? What is your connection with Chennai and Mylapore, really?
I like you said, I think I'm a Mylapore girl at heart. Like I love Kapali Temple. I love the tank. Whether the faith in God itself is a secondary question. It doesn't even matter because that whole place is filled with memories. Walking with my mothers, my grandmothers, and just and all doing all these like important days, going there. And then after that, eating in Katpagam Barmes and buying vegetables back. It just brings me back to a very like simpler time. Back then, when we didn't have internet or anything, like I would really just look forward to going to these places in the evening. I'd after class and everything during the day, I'll just be like, okay, can we go to Kapali Temple? It's not something I would ever say now, but it's just charm of it remains, and I'm very grateful for these things.
Yeah, beautiful. Sushma, if you can sing us a little something before we let you go.
Yeah, do it. Hang on. நெஞ்சுக்கு நீதியும் தோளுக்கு வாழும் நிறைந்த சுடர்மணி போல் நெஞ்சுக்கு நீதியும் தோளுக்கு வாழும் நிறைந்த சுடர்மணி போல் பஞ்சுக்கு நேர் பல துன்பங்களாம் இவள் பார்வைக்கு நேர் பெரும் வஞ்சனையில் பகை விஷ்ணுதென்றி வையகமானலாம் வஞ்சனையில் பகை விஷ்ணுதென்றி வையகமானலாம் தஞ்சமென்றே ஒரு பேர் அவள் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் தஞ்சமென்றே ஒரு பேர் அவள் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் சக்தி ஓம் வெள்ளை மலர் இசை வேத கரு பொருளாக விளங்கிடுவாய் வெள்ளை மலர் இசை வேத கரு பொருளாக விளங்கிடுவாய் தெள்ளுக்களை தமிழ்வாய் விண்ணப்பம் செய்திடுவேன் எல்ல தந்தை பொழுதும் பயனில் தீராதே எல்லை தந்தை பொழுதும் பயனில் தீராதே வெள்ளமென பொழிவாய் சக்தி மேல் சக்தி Shakti Veer, very minute for revive. Shakti Veer, Shakti Veer, Shakti Veer. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om.
Thank you, Sushma. I'm always really amazed at how beautiful your Tamil diction is, really.
Oh,
And yeah, and having grown up in Singapore, it's just amazing that your love for the Tamil language, Tamil poetry. I've noticed that you've
Tamil poetry. I just want to say thanks to Panjavan. I want to say thanks for having me here, and
thank you so much. Yeah.
Sarees, and so thank you for having me.
Thank you. Sure, Sushma. I hope we get to see you perform live soon. And I hope you're able to come back to Chennai soon and we catch up at Sangeeta and we're all able to enjoy a strong filter coffee and a fabulous dosa.
Yes. See you.
See you all. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks to everyone.
Bye.